Greetings fellow tank commanders. In this video I'm going to be showing you a game that I played in the IS-2. This is a tier 7 Soviet premium heavy tank with regular matchmaking. The game I'm playing is an encounter battle on Himmelsdorf Winter with tier 8 as the top tier and 1 artillery on each team. I decided to start off the game on flat ground instead of heading up towards the encounter base, so I'm heading directly south towards the enemy spawn area. Although when fighting in this area you often have to take shots at a long range, it's still a decent location for the IS-2 because the enemies are funneled through some narrow areas here, which can make it a little easier to use its slightly unwieldy gun, since you won't have to deal with a lot of enemies darting from side to side. Remember, when you're using tanks like the IS-2 with a large 122mm cannon, that you don't have to be constantly firing at the enemy because your gun is so big that you really only need 5 or 6 shots to make a pretty big impact on the game. So I'm not going to risk losing any hit points unnecessarily at this point. That Churchill snuck up on me, and so I panicked a little and fired my shot before I was aimed, which in most cases is not the smartest move to do with the IS-2. You're going to want to take your time and make every shot count since you have a low ammo capacity. Already there, that's 3 unsuccessful shots, and I'm off to a slow start this game. That's 2 easy damage hits on the Churchill 7, and I'm finally in the game. Now I notice there's some enemy activity on the road just slightly to my left, and I'm going to turn my attention towards them. This is a nice clean shot that I get on the side of the Tiger II's turret, but now that I'm going to be fighting a tier 8 from the front, I'm switching over to my APCR shells, which is usually a good choice when you're fighting stronger tanks from the front with the IS-2. And since I don't have any direct support from my teammates, I'm not going to take any unnecessary risks with this tier 8 by sticking on AP rounds. I was expecting the Tiger II to get a shot in on me here, so I just made sure that my shot was fully aimed, but unfortunately it just goes into his track, and that is not worth the trade. I wait till I'm undetected here, and I don't want to take any damage from the Tiger II. I could have waited that extra half a second or so just to make sure my shot was fully aimed, but it was of little consequence since I was able to avoid taking a hit as well. Finally, another damage hit on the Tiger II. You can see how even fighting at 200 meters with the IS-2 can be quite painful, so you gotta make sure that you're patient with your shots and that you avoid taking damage for as long as possible. The Tiger II finally gets some support from his teammate here, but it is too late. He's driving up real close and I get a clear shot in his bottom front plate with little chance of missing. My goal while fighting this KV-13 was just to try to trade shots with him. I figured that after I fired my first shot he would try to get along my side and use his better rate of fire to take me out, but the KV-13 decided to play quite defensively, which definitely isn't the best use of his tank. I made 2 rush shots on this KV-13 which ended up bouncing. I really should have just charged forward because this engagement with him has just gone on for way too long. Fortunately, that's a nice and easy damage hit on an Octal Panther, and my teammate comes up from behind and finishes him off. Finally, I've got the KV-13 pinned here, and really I should have made this move on him a lot earlier. If this KV-13 had played his tank more as a medium tank rather than a heavy tank, then my strategy to trade shots would have been worthwhile, but that ended up being way too long of an engagement. My team has now successfully claimed this bottom portion of the map, but it is not that great of a victory since this is an encounter battle and the flag is up on the hill on the other side of the map. I was quite lucky not taking any damage from that IS-2 shot. I don't stop to aim this here because I know that my heavy tank teammate off by the train station can finish him off if my shot misses, and I just need to get speed to get up to the base. Since this is a very long drive, I've sped it up quite a bit so that we don't waste any time here. The enemy almost manages to capture the base here, but my T-34/100 teammate manages to reset it and saves the game for us. This Black Prince may be destroyed, but his tank is still going to be really useful for me here. His tank is going to provide great cover for me, and since I don't have gun depression to just peek over the hill, it's going to be very valuable. I get my first easy shot into the Tiger 1, and I was going to try to hit the M6 to reset as many base capture points as possible, but end up just trying to finish off the Tiger 1. My T-32 teammate sees the urgency of the situation and is sitting out in the open just to get the shots. And we are really lucky that the enemy did not just try to hide behind the castle, because this way we were able to reset the base right before it was captured. My T-32 teammate gets destroyed here, but his sacrifice was worth it because we managed to reset the base, and now we've got plenty of time for my teammates to come up around the back. I was considering rushing the T-59 and the M6 here, which would have been risky considering my low hit points, but it ends up being an even greater risk here because I am almost out of ammunition. All I have left now is 2 HE shells because I have gotten some bad luck from the RNG for the last 2 shots. But I'm not overly concerned here since my almost full health KV-3 teammate is coming up directly behind the enemy. So right now my goal is just to distract the enemy. I only have 1 HE shell left here, but at last the KV-3 has arrived, and so I'm ready to take my final shot of the game. I use my repair kit to make it count. And the M6 is down, and now the T-59 is an easy target for the KV-3. Now let's check the post-game stats and see how I did. For this game, I managed to earn 96,000 silver, remembering that I fired all of my shells, including 13 APCR rounds, and I used a large repair kit right at the end of the game. I did also have a 25% silver multiplier from an operation. I also earned 4,150 experience without any multipliers. In this game, I managed to deal 4,912 damage, assist with 310 damage, and destroyed 5 enemies while blocking 1,800 damage. This earned me High Caliber, Mastery Badge Ace Tanker, Steel Wall, and Defender. I placed at the top of my team, earning a base XP of 2,305. My T-32 teammate had 3,271 damage and destroyed 4 enemies, which was definitely a big part of helping to win this game. I managed to hit 23 of my 28 shots and penetrate 15 of those. I'm not too happy with those stats considering that the only real tough target I was having to face was the Tiger 2. In terms of crew and module damage, I injured the driver in the KV-13, injured the commander in the Tiger 2, damaged the gun on the M6, and damaged the engine in the Tiger 1. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this game with the IS-2, and that it'll help you with your own gameplay. Make sure to avoid making the same mistakes that I made in this game, make sure not to rush your shots, and keep an eye out for opportunities to play a little more aggressively. Stay tuned for more awesome World of Tanks videos.